In recent years, e-commerce has exploded in growth. E-commerce is basically trading of goods and services on the internet in exchange for a monetary payment, and every such transaction is made possible by a payment system operating in the background. However, implementing a payment system is not a leisure task. Reliability and correctness are critical. Furthermore, successful businesses generate a lot of payment requests as they scale, since even a small amount of downtime could mean a lot of lost revenue. Availability is also essential. In this video, we're going to demystify the process of implementing a reliable and scalable payment system. Before diving into the interview questions, it's useful to have a high-level view on the payment systems used globally. Normally, a customer places an order to a merchant website. To complete this, the customer has to provide the payment informations. So, next, the merchant sends the customer to the payment form page to introduce the payment details. Normally, this form page is provided by the payment gateway. To operate legally, this service has to manage many compliance rules, including PCI DSS and GDPR. This gateway also has several other functions. For instance, it can forward the request to advanced verification services for risk and fraud prevention. We'll discuss it later in more details. So, the main function of the payment gateway is to validate financial credentials and transfer them to a merchant bank account. Now, the cardholder information are transmitted to the acquiring bank. This is the bank that processes card payments on behalf of the merchant. Now, we can define a payment service provider. This is a broader term for third-party companies that assist businesses in facilitating payments safely and securely. A PSP usually offers services such as risk management, reconciliation tools, and sometimes even services for order management. PSPs can also be the acquiring bank, but not necessarily. Next, the acquiring bank captures the transaction information, performs basic validation, and routes the request along the appropriate card networks to the cardholder issuing bank for approval. Finally, the customer bank receives the transaction information and responds by approving or declining the transaction. It can check that the transaction information is valid, the cardholder has sufficient balance to make the purchase, and the account is in good standing. And then, the transaction follows the same route back to the merchant. The merchant will receive a status of the transaction, which is also displayed to the client.